Drew, we've been doing this long enough that I think it is seriously time we start to explore the idea of getting our own Funko Pops.
Oh, I'm all in on this idea.
Like, Funko Pops of you and myself.
Yes.
The official Devil's Due Funko Pops.
We could even have variants. You can have your various facial hairs.
Yes.
My hair of varying length.
Yes, and my hair of varying length because it's very, very short right now. Yeah, red shirt, the black shirt,
sure,
the whole thing.
Yeah, I'm for this. This is a good idea. Let's we should get some crowdfunding on this.
Yeah, dear listeners, let us know. Will you kickstart? All right, so we are back again. It's another exciting episode of The Devil's Due. Folks, we really appreciate you joining us. It's been a couple weeks. It's been a hot minute. Contrary to all the smoke you see outside your window, there's really nothing going on in the world right now. Nothing of importance to our circles anyway. Nothing much as far as news, nerd news and whatnot.
Well,
there's been a couple stories here and there, but nothing
that's shattering our world or anything.
Exactly. So we didn't record what would have been 2 weeks ago, our normal recording night. But we didn't want to leave you, the good listener, too long without some content. So we decided to get together tonight and let you, the good listener, decide what we were going to discuss. And you have come through smashingly, I must say. But before we get to that, Drew, there's ceremony. We have feet. We must stand. So, sir, how have your weeks been?
Let's do this right.
There we go.
A little pour here. That might come through in the finished podcast. It. Okay, good. And for those wondering, this is a Pressure Drop Brewing Dank Sinatra.
Dank Sinatra. If there's one thing I enjoy about craft brewing, it's the names.
Yes, sir. This is a wonderful New England IPA, and it is certainly dank. I'm here for it. Let's see, Carl. How have my weeks been? Oh, Carl, we are entrenched in the terrible twos, my friend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
William skipped the terrible twos and just gave us a double dose for Threatful Threes.
Yeah, we're in hell. Tantrums over nothing. Socks on, socks off. On, off.
Yep.
Off, on. Okay. Yeah. Throwing the throwing of toys, the hitting, just all of it. Complete, utter nuclear meltdowns that last far too long. You know.
Oh yeah, I get you. Have you ever tried just putting one sock on and leaving the other one off?
Haven't tried that yet. Perhaps
balance. There's a light side and a dark side.
I might have to give that a shot because he might. I mean, to me, it's weird, but he might go for it. Maybe that's what he wants ultimately.
When all else has failed, try the unexpected.
Yeah. No, you're not wrong. That's probably a good call. So yeah, that's really all that's been going on. But let me think. Surely more has been happening. Let's see. I started playing Master Blaster Zero 2 on the Switch. And that is certainly, if you enjoyed the first one, as I did, you will enjoy the second one very much. It's pretty much more of the same.
Mastery and blastery.
Yeah. No, the first one was a wonderful update to the NES game. And this one is just a continuation of the, of the revitalization of the franchise. So I'm certainly enjoying it. Let's see. There's that. What else am I doing? Not much. I've been slowly chipping away at a project guitar that I'm building. So that's been, fun to see come together, but now it's in like the actual time to finish constructing phase, and there are some nuances to that are a little bit more difficult than just, assembling. You have to there's some drilling involved. There is some very fine points that I need to make sure are done to the letter. So a little bit stressful, but I'll get there. So there's that going on.
Yeah.
More finer points on the recording of the Long Cold Dark record, which is probably at about 98.5% completion at this point, and I'm pretty. That's the end is in sight, even if it's not quite imminent, but there is an end in sight. So there's that. And what else is going on?
Are you just going to call it Pandemic Chronicles?
No, that would be too predictable. But it's certainly by the time I get this done, it might actually be like dated in a way. I started working on this thing like, God, there's riffs in parts of songs that go back like 6 to 7 years. And then lyrically it started to come together probably 2017 or so. And a lot of stuff there is topical to that time, or at least it was when it started, but those topics certainly haven't gone away, and if anything are more prevalent than ever. By the time,
for a second, I thought you were going to say 27 years ago.
No,
wow, you were ambitious while you were reading the backs of those Marvel Universe trading cards, weren't you?
Oh, yeah. But by the time this gets done, who knows where we'll be, and this might be a dated concept, and it might be, I don't know. I'm still okay with it, and I'm still I can still live with everything I've written. So, I feel pretty good about it. But it probably would have been more timely a couple years ago. But you know what? The world we live in certainly hasn't changed. So, it's certainly as relevant now as it's ever been. So yeah, good times. And that's the gist, man. That's about all I've been up to. Hate to say it.
Cool.
What's going on with you?
Let me see. Predominantly Squadrons.
Okay.
I'm still loving Star Wars Squadrons. It is a fantastic game. It is more like, I would say 90 to 95% of my free gaming time is being taken up by Star Wars Squadrons. The other time is when William wants me to play games with him, which I enjoy most of the time, except when he wants to play Super Mario Brothers co-op. There is no enjoyment in that. When I do that, it's simply to satiate the beast that will erupt if I decline. But most of the time, like for playing, Mario Kart or something else, it's a good time. But yeah, Star Wars Squadrons is just been a fantastic experience. Well worth the $40. The meta has kind of developed in the game. Right now, the top ship in the game is the TIE Bomber. Just because it has very powerful weapons and an incredibly high amount of hit points. So, yeah, it's been interesting to see. Ironically enough, on the other end of the spectrum, the worst ship in the game is the Y-Wing. It's funny you think, because, like, the Bomber's the best ship in the game, the Y-Wing being the Rebel counterpart to that, you'd think it'd be least within the next two positions, but no. Does not have the speed or maneuverability that the Bomber does, nor does it have the hit points. So for something that's supposed to serve the same role, it dies very quickly. So yeah, Squadrons. I've also started watching. I did this just out of curiosity one night, and I got fairly hooked. I started watching the old Silver Surfer cartoon.
Oh, yeah?
Because I had some vague memories of it. And as you know, being older and being able to appreciate things differently now than when it was first out, this was like early 90s, post Spider-Man, X-Men animated series, and Fox tried to cash in on another character. The show only lasted one season, and you can definitely see why when you watch the show, and I don't say that in a bad way, but this show is far too heavy for a casual viewer. First off, the visuals of the show are incredibly fascinating because the art style is straight up Jack Kirby. Like, it is just taking Jack Kirby off the page, putting it onto the screen. And we're talking like Jack Kirby cosmic, so there's an extra layer of just astonishing beauty to it. But in that, a lot of what they try to do, because it's the early 90s, a lot of that is kind of matted over not great CG models. So like Galactus is entirely CG with like a Jack Kirby cell shading. And it looks he looks slightly different, which I guess can kind of be the point of it, is he kind of should. But like this show, like I'm 4 or 5 episodes in, is very like philosophical and large cosmic questions. And yeah, there's some action in it, but the action is not the point of it. So far, the only drawback of the show is the interpretation of Thanos, because he's much more standard villain, probably obviously closer to a comic interpretation than we saw in the MCU. And so it's something you kind of bump up against, but at the same time, you just kind of learn to accept it as it goes on. But, I mean, if you have the chance, I would highly recommend it. Because it's very surprisingly, and it's one of those things where I can see why it only lasted one season. And it's like one of those things where if this had been possibly on a different channel or a different time slot, might have run a little longer.
Interesting. And this was from the 90s?
Yeah, this came out like post, like I said, post X-Men, post Spider-Man animated series. I think this is like Fox's first Marvel offering after those two series wrapped. And so I guess it was just like too out there for the kids, because like first 3 episodes are the origin. And so your protagonist is essentially an antagonist because he's serving Galactus. He's serving as Galactus's herald. And they, to my knowledge of the character, they do pretty well by his origin. But yeah, I can definitely see why it didn't go more than one season. But I would highly, highly recommend checking it out, because it's beautifully drawn, because again, Kirby, they're just doing straight Kirby, and it's really kind of like deep, cosmic, inward looking that you would expect from
the Surfer.
No, from just like a Saturday morning cartoon.
Well, I mean, the Surfer.
Like, it's something you would expect from a Silver Surfer comic, but not a Silver Surfer animated kids show.
Right.
So, like, they nailed the character, and that was kind of to their detriment, because they nailed the character, and that character by himself is probably not the best character for kids in a Saturday morning setting.
No, the Surfer is a bit heady.
Yeah.
But that's, then again, hey, give kids some credit. Push the boundaries, boundaries and whatnot.
Exactly. So, Julie's been killing it with Ring Fit. She is at level 97.
Okay.
She's doing like at least an hour a day, sometimes more.
Oh.
I'm a level 4.
You have some catching up to do.
it's killing me. Is the kind of the flip side of that.
Mm.
So, but yeah, other than that, things are going, and yeah, that's pretty much it. So that, dear listeners, is our weeks. As always, we encourage you. We'd love to hear from you. You can reach out to us and tell us about your weeks, and you can do this at the following social media locations. You can follow us on Twitter at Devils Do Pod. You can like our Facebook page, facebook.com/DevilsDoPod. You can email us at thedevilsdopod@gmail.com, or you can find all these resources available to you on our website, thedevilsdopodcast.com. And Drew, like I said earlier, we didn't really have a lot to talk about this week, but we wanted to give the people a show, so we reached out to the people and said, hey, you tell us what you want us to talk about. And the listeners have responded back in kind. We have a bunch of emails to go through here. Normally, I read these in the order of which we receive them, but I also pride myself on being a gentleman at times. And in that sense, we will go with ladies first. Drew, we have a new emailer to the show this week, and I just banged my favorite elbow on the desk, right in the funny bone spot. Oh, that hurt.
Timing.
Okay. Yes. This email comes to us from Miss Andrea Perry. Andrea, thank you so much for emailing the show. I really appreciate it. Andrea's shown up at our 2 live shows. She's been a good supporter of the show for a while.
All right.
She writes, hello, Carl and Drew. Long-time listener, first-time emailer. Hope you are both doing well. You said you wanted listener questions, and here's the best I could come up with off the top of my head. Number 1. The Mandalorian season 2, episode 1 drops on Disney Plus. Have you had a chance to watch it yet? And if so, what are your thoughts? You have not watched it. You're watching it tomorrow.
Yes, that's correct. I'm watching it tomorrow. So, do we want to? Do you want to just give a quick thumbs up, thumbs down, and then we can talk about some Mando in the next episode? Yeah.
We can do that. I will. Was about halfway through my second viewing of the first episode before we started recording. It's thumbs up. It is stuff that is familiar in an unfamiliar way.
I am very much looking forward to it.
Yeah. There are certain things I'm like, I honestly wonder how Drew's going to react to this. But, I mean, you had stuff like that in the first one as well.
The thing is, I have all the faith in Jon Favreau. So, Mando Season 1 certainly did not let me down. If anything, it's in the pantheon of great things in the Star Wars world. Like it's up there. So I have high expectations for the second season. So yeah, looking forward to it, and I will be watching it tomorrow.
Cool. Okay, so our second question. A lot of rumors have been swirling around Spider-Man 3, Tom Holland's Spider-Man 3,
yes,
including the possible return of Jamie Foxx's Electro, as well as Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield. Since it seems very likely that the idea of the multiverse will be introduced in the next Doctor Strange film and maybe WandaVision, would you be okay with that extending to Spider-Man? I'm personally on the fence. I will always be a Tobey Maguire girl at heart, but I'm worried that might be too much shoved into one movie. Your thoughts?
I am not. I don't know what they're doing, to be honest, and I've seen all those rumors flying around. I don't like the idea personally. And I think it's multifaceted, okay? So, for one, I think it's presumptuous of Sony to think that because they did the animated Spider-Verse movie, that they can make that the thing going forward in the next live-action film. I don't see the carryover, and I don't see the continuity there. One of these things is not like the other, especially given that the Tom Holland films are tied to the MCU proper, which, for all of the crazy things they have done in the MCU, the multiverse, while yes, they're going to introduce it going forward, allegedly, they're teasing it with titles and things, but we don't know specifically how multiversal we're getting exactly.
Right.
I don't want to see the Spider-Man in the MCU get watered down by all of that. I feel like there's still a lot of room for this Spider-Man to grow into the character, and that's all that other stuff is just like extra window dressing that he doesn't really need. So I hope they don't go that route, and I think it would also be just, again, a little bit confusing for the audience. And I don't know that, again, given that we've talked about this kind of maybe in passing before, but I'm starting to really come around to the realization of it. The the Tom Holland Spider-Man movies, while they do take place in the MCU and they have MCU characters in them, they're still very much Sony movies. And I don't want to see Marvel like hitching their wagon to that necessarily. If anything, it should be the other way around. Sony's playing in Marvel's backyard. Marvel's not playing in Sony's backyard. So I don't know. I don't think the MCU doesn't need all that multiversal baggage. If you ask me, at least if it's hinging on Sony's Spider-Man films. And then just as a quick personal note, I don't personally get into the idea of the Spider-Verse. I love Spider-Man, but I like Spider-Man as pretty much your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. He's your everyday average dude with extraordinary abilities, just trying to make his way in the world that we know. And when they try and force all this fate and destiny and cosmic multiversal stuff on the character, it just all rings really hollow to me, and it kind of irks me. So let's just keep Spidey grounded to some degree.
So there's a part of me that agrees with that. My views on this can be summed up kind of by saying DC needs to do stuff like this in their films. Marvel doesn't.
Sure.
Marvel has built up the credit and the good faith in the audience that they're going to deliver something good. They could just tell us the title of the film, who's involved, and the release date. Most of us are going to be there. We probably wouldn't even need a trailer. DC with their Flash film saying, okay, we got, Ben Affleck coming back. We've got Michael Keaton coming back as Batman. We've got a whole bunch of different stuff happening with we're doing Flashpoint and the multiverse and stuff. Okay, DC does not have a lot of credit with fans right now. They've got a little bit, Shazam, Aquaman, and Wonder Woman were definitely a step up from the previous offerings, but it's not like they've totally wiped out their bad debt. So stuff like that for DC makes sense. Like, they really have to swing for the fences to get people to come back to the theaters. Marvel doesn't need to do that. And I've always said on the show, if you've listened, Spider-Man is my all-time favorite character. I love Spider-Man more than any other character. I like the MCU version of Spider-Man, though I still do find some major flaws with the character. One of the flaws appears that will be continuing in the third Spider-Man film, and that seems to be the need for a mentor. They announced that Benedict Cumberbatch will be playing Doctor Strange in the third one and possibly filling the role left vacant by Tony. See, this takes away one of the core essential tenets of the character, that he is the best of all the Marvel universe because of how he has grown and learned his lessons based on his own decisions and his own mistakes, and he's never needed, quote unquote, a mentor. So I was never crazy with the whole Bruce Wayne Dick Grayson relationship between Tony and Peter, but it was a different interpretation. Like we said, these characters are interpreted and reinterpreted over years, and the interpretations are often going to be different. So, okay, for the most part, they got it. Like Andrea, I've always, kind of held true to the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man. The first two Sam Raimi Spider-Man films are still fantastic. The second one still being the best Spider-Man film, and as we were just discussing before we started recording, for me, Into the Spider-Verse is the second best Spider-Man films. That film is lightning in a bottle. The idea of bringing like Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield into this film, if I had a choice, I would probably say we don't need that. But if you're dead set against doing it, I think there's a way you can do it and do it right. And which is, as we learned with the Hulk, less is more.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you have, I think if you're going to do it, you have a scene where Peter comes to a crossroads. Tom Holland Peter comes to a crossroads in which he does not know where to go and what to do. And instead of a mentor character like Tony or Steven to be there are mentor characters of alternate versions of himself in the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man and the Andrew Garfield Spider-Man, because both those Peters were considerably older than the one we have now. Mm-hmm. I think that can be a really nice moment in a film, but shouldn't be any more than a moment.
And for all we know, that could be what they're doing. Nice.
Yeah, that could be what they're doing, and it'd be really nice to see all three of them together on screen and just say, hey, we appreciate our history, we appreciate our past, and we're also excited about where we're going. And just give it that moment, and then just let that moment pass.
Sure.
And then in the end, if you want a huge universes colliding in on each other, huge action sequence where you get Jamie Foxx in the background as Electro, and then you can bring Maguire and Garfield back for a big action sequence in the end. But once that's done, everybody go back to your own universe and stay there. Go back to your own reality and stay there. We don't need ultimate MCU.
Yeah.
Okay, we don't need we don't need that. So if they're gonna, I'd rather they not do it. If they are going to do it, I think there's a way they can do it and do it well. And obviously, as we've said in the past, Marvel currently has an unlimited line of credit with us. They've got the black card. So let's see what they do. Andrew's last question. Finally, the spooky season is upon us. What are your Halloween movie watch lists? That's all for now. Thank you for your time and keep up the great work. Happy Halloween, Andrea Perry.
I'll be honest, man. I don't really have one. I've got favorites and stuff, but I don't. Every time I always feel bad at Halloween. I feel like I want to love it more than I actually do love it, and that's kind of a bummer.
It's my favorite holiday. Obviously, I'm pretty bummed out this year that we don't get to have it the way we normally would. Mm-hmm. Especially because William's super excited about his Spider-Man costume. But as far as Halloween watch list, immediately comes to mind, obviously, it's Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown. The classic Lon Chaney Wolfman. The classic Bela Lugosi Dracula. Tim Burton's Sleepy Hollow. And Monster Squad.
Wolfman's got nards.
Wolfman's got nards. That's going to be my Halloween watch list. Now, Drew, you're probably going to roll your eyes at this, and Prashad is at this. But I was there at the beginning, so I can say I like this, and I'm a fan of this. I do like me some Nightmare Before Christmas, Drew.
Okay.
But there is only one appropriate day to watch that film, and it is November 1st.
Okay.
Because the film kicks off the day after Halloween.
Ah, well, you're being a stickler, but that's okay.
To me, it's never been fully a Christmas movie, and it's never been fully a Halloween movie, so it kind of exists in that in-between. And that's when I like to enjoy it the most. Yeah. I have my reasons. All right, so now moving on to Mr. Nick Landers.
Hey, Nick, I know him.
To my dear friend Drew and Carl, nice to make your acquaintance. I was in Pulp 716 talking to Jay Brent about Star Wars and The Mandalorian. I mentioned to him a bugaboo I was having with people referring to the child as Baby Yoda, and he said he didn't mind and had a theory, which I was intrigued to hear. He is a fan of the animated show Rebels, which I sadly have only seen the pilot episode. I'm going to pause right there. Nick, you need to go and watch the rest of the series because it's so good. So good. Go and watch it. He said, getting back to the next question, he said there's a time travel portal in Rebels and that a character from Rebels has been cast for The Mandalorian, that he thinks the child is in fact Yoda. He didn't mean to spoil Rebels for me or possibly ruin future Mando episodes. I didn't want to spoil anything for you guys, but since it's just a fan theory, I was wondering your thoughts. Normally, we're not big on fan theories, but Jay, being the proprietor of Pulp 716, has some fan credentials to him. So, as far as this goes, yes, there is. It's called The World Between Worlds. And it's kind of crossroads. I've talked about this before in the episodes. If you had to imagine the space-time continuum as a hotel and the different rooms being different points and times, the world between worlds is the hallway and the stairs that link the hotel and the floors together. So if you can gain access to the world between worlds, you can jump between moments in time. So it's not necessarily time travel per se. More like time jumping. More like a quantum leap, where you hope your next leap is the leap home.
Let's just hope that the Mandalorian spells the main character's name right in the final episode, unlike Quantum Leap. Anyway, let's. I hope none of that is true. I hope. Let him be his own character, so. And it will be fine.
Yeah. He goes on to say, "P.S. I loved your Star Wars episodes. Drew gets super red over the prequels. It's entertaining."
Well, I'm glad I'm good for something.
Good, glad my anger and rage entertained. PPS, I also love when you guys cover wrestling. I pretty much message Drew weekly, sometimes daily, about wrestling.
He does.
Have a good one. May the force be with you.
I'm always happy to talk wrestling.
There's been some happenings in the wrestling world.
Oh yeah, we had a whole G1. it was bananas.
Who won the G1?
Spoilers. The shining star Kota Ibushi he won his second G1 in a row.
And now he gets to challenge for the IWGP?
That's correct. He gets challenged for the title at Wrestle Kingdom again.
What does IWGP stand for?
International Wrestling Grand Prix.
Okay. I was just curious.
Yep.
Cool. So was it, as far as past G1s, how did this one rank?
A lot of great stuff in it. The G1 is so much, Carl. It was a good G1. They were missing a lot of international talent that would otherwise be in. Well, I mean, I shouldn't even say that. A lot of guys were there, so I'm kind of off there. I think everything feels weird right now just because of the state of the world. So it's hard for me to say. The crowds were strange because, like in Japan, they actually are respectful and they've been told not to cheer with their mouths. They have to just clap. So they can't make noise, which makes it awkward. And Japanese crowds tend to be quieter than American crowds anyway. So imagine that, but even quieter. So that's kind of weird. And I don't know. That and the buildings are, obviously not as full to capacity as they normally would be, so that takes another layer away from it all. John Moxley didn't compete this year, even after having being a very fun inclusion last year in the G1. He wasn't there this year. It's fine. New Japan has plenty of talent, so it's not like it's a big deal. But it could have been cooler. But then again, some guys got some big shine this year. Like Minoru Suzuki had a big presence in this year's tournament, and that's a really welcome addition because Minoru Suzuki is I fear and love him. So anytime they want to give him some shine, I'm all for it. Tomohiro Ishii, again, dude, one of the best in the world. He probably will never ever get a chance to hold the IWGP title, but he certainly deserves it because the man puts on 4- and 5-star matches with anyone with alarming regularity. He is a workhorse. He's amazing, and I wish someday he would get a run. He probably never will. He's getting up there in age now, but man, Ishii, I am a mark for Ishii, and I will never tell you otherwise. So anyway, there were some big surprises. I'm not sure. It didn't happen in the G1, but I think we talked about. Did we talk about the title change in the title change back and the new alliances and all the things going on? There's a lot going on.
We did not.
Oh man. So okay. I guess the big thing is that at before G1 and one of the last big events in New Japan, Evil in of Los Ingobernables de Japan, in Naito's faction. LIJ is Naito, Sonata, Evil. I'm blanking. Oh god, I'm doing a terrible job at this. Naito, Sonata, Evil, why is his name escaping me right now? It's my God, Carl. It's late, and I've dealt with a toddler all day. Oh, I'm a bad person. Shingo Takagi, Bushi. My God, like now that I'm seeing their names, I had to look this up because like I'm like I know their names, but I don't like why can't I? Why am I blanking on them? And then the ticking time bomb, Hiromu Takahashi. They are Lij. Well, Carl, spoilers. I'm back, baby. I'm back. Spoilers. At the last big event, Evil turned on Lij and joined Bullet Club, and it was a very big deal. And he won the IWGP title and the IC title from Naito, and turned his back on Lij. Big, major storyline. Well, at the very next event, Naito took his titles back, but Evil remains in Bullet Club. However, Evil and Bullet Club is kind of there's drama there because this all happened while Kenta and Switchblade Jay White were out of the country due to COVID. Now they are in Bullet Club, and Jay White, for all intents and purposes, is the leader of the current incarnation of Bullet Club. So while Evil is running around pretending that he's the ace of Bullet Club and you know, in Bullet Club, Jay White is taking some issue with that. So there's a lot of drama happening there as well, and that kind of bubbled up in the G1 as well. Just a lot of you know, there's just a lot of stuff going on, which is very just good stuff. Oh, and Will Ospreay turned on his stablemates in Chaos. He turned on Okada, and he now has his own little stable called the Empire. So that happened too. Just a lot of great stuff in New Japan. New Japan is always awesome, and it still remains awesome. And now look, this hasn't had a major effect yet, but there are notable effects that have peaked up from this. The president of New Japan Pro Wrestling, Harold Meij, I can't ever say his name right, but either way, he's stepping down. In fact, I think he might be already gone at this point. He announced his departure from New Japan Pro Wrestling effective, I want to get this right. He said he would be leaving the company as of, okay, so he's gone as of October 23rd, as of a week ago. Now, that was a surprising thing, seeing as obviously no one expected it, so it kind of came out of nowhere. Now, he's been in charge for the last few years, and he's had good business success everywhere he's been in the business world. However, under his watch, he saw the departure of one of the pillars of New Japan Pro Wrestling in Kenny Omega. And New Japan, fans like to get really chippy about this and say, well, like, because New Japan can basically continue on with basically anyone that they have and not miss a beat. Everyone likes to downplay the impact that Kenny Omega had in the company, but like, let's be real. Kenny Omega had a huge impact in the company, and for a hot minute, for a period of time, Kenny Omega was one of the four faces of the company that they were building, that they were using as a pillar of the company. That being Kenny Omega, Okada, Naito, and Tanahashi. Look at the Fire Pro video game. They are the four guys on the cover. So, don't tell me that Kenny Omega was not a big deal. So under Meij's tenure, Omega left the company and threw a lot of their plans into disarray and yada yada. And there was a lot of talk when he took over that he was not very popular with the talent, and a lot of guys did not like him, and he rubbed a lot of people the wrong way, and etc. The company did well under him and everything. Don't get me wrong, but these are the things that occurred. Now, what's notable about that is he left. As soon as a week after he announces that he's leaving, Jericho had his 30th anniversary as a pro wrestler show on AEW Dynamite, right? Well, yep. Dude, no, again, so we've maybe, for the unfamiliar, we've talked about this on the show in the past. There is despite guys that have appeared in NJPW and AEW sometimes at the same time, that being like Jon Moxley, for instance, there were no working relationships between the companies formally. In fact, there was a very, let's call it a very cold shoulder relationship between the two companies. Well, no sooner than Miege announces that he's leaving New Japan Pro Wrestling, they had Hiroshi Tanahashi standing in front of a New Japan Pro Wrestling logo wishing Chris Jericho a happy 30 years, and he hopes that he can wrestle Chris Jericho again another 30 times on AEW Dynamite on television. And then no sooner does Miege announce he's retiring, that they are using photos from the Moxley Lance Archer Texas Death Match at Wrestle Kingdom in the Tokyo Dome. They're using photos from it, courtesy New Japan Pro Wrestling, as they're credited on the television show, and they're using that match to build the next Moxley Archer match, which took place a few weeks ago. And then on Twitter, suddenly you had all these guys tweeting fun comments like, when's the like AEW guys saying, when's the G1? How is Tokyo in January? That kind of thing, like teasing all kinds of New Japan things. So to me, that's not a coincidence. Like, that door was shut under the previous regime in New Japan, and now all of a sudden, granted, nothing else has really come out of it yet, but in that first week, we saw more mentions of New Japan on AEW television than we had ever seen before. So that, to me, that is notable. Not saying anything's gonna happen imminently, but it seems like the possibility is certainly there more than it was in the past. So that could be very exciting. I think, high tide raises all ships. If these guys can work together, I think it's going to be great for the wrestling business as a whole. Great for fans, great for talent. It would just be fantastic. So, fingers crossed. Fingers crossed.
Cool.
Yeah. Can you tell I really like this stuff?
Well, don't get too ahead of yourself, Drew, because spoilers, we are going to talk about wrestling again later in the show.
Oh,
maybe
cool.
Stuff that you don't like as much.
Okay.
But before we get to that, thank you very much, Nick, for your questions. We appreciate it. Moving on to our next email from Mr. Adam Williams. Adam has given us a great one this week. He said, let's get to know our hosts by telling us which you pick over the other.
Ooh.
And we have a series of decisions here. So, Drew, we'll go down the list here. Coke or Pepsi?
Coke. Classic.
So, I choose Pepsi.
Okay.
Boxers or briefs?
Boxers.
Boxers as well. Board games or video games?
Video games.
See, this one is so situational for me.
Well, it is that, but if it's a snap decision, Sophie's choice, I got to go video games.
Yeah, given the current global situation and whatnot, I will go video games as well, but all things being equal, I would probably go board games. Christmas or Thanksgiving?
Ooh, Christmas.
I'm going to say Thanksgiving.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Thanksgiving is not as drawn out an affair in my family as Christmas is. Not that I don't enjoy it, but I don't feel as mentally, physically, and financially drained at the end of Thanksgiving that I do at the end of Christmas.
I completely understand what you're saying, but I can't deny that Christmas magic.
Yeah, Christmas is great. Star Wars or Marvel?
Marvel.
See, I'd probably have to go Star Wars. Because I don't think I'd get to Marvel without Star Wars. And Star Wars came first for me.
I grew up on both, so that is a tough one.
Yeah.
But I think I think there's more, just for me personally, there's more richness and unique character. There's more unique stories that I can point to and fawn over in the Marvel world than there is in the Star Wars world.
Fair enough. Football or hockey?
Ooh. Oh God. I mean, this is so situational, like you said. Wow. Hockey.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go hockey as well.
But it's hard
a better
though.
Community experience.
It absolutely is. It's hard though because the thing about it is I watch more football, but I don't love it the way I love hockey. Does that make sense?
Revise. No, that makes sense. Let me revise my stance. It's a better community experience when you're watching it live.
That's fair. Yeah, totally, actually. Yeah.
Better community experience when you're getting with friends at someone's house or a bar or something like that, food, and hang out together.
Yes, that's fair. The highs of when the Sabres are good, the highs of hockey for me are the highest highs I can feel in sports. More so than football. More so than even if the Bills were good.
Right.
I can't explain why, but that's where I am.
Barbecue wings or hot wings?
Well, there's layers here.
Yeah, situational. Depends on where they come from.
Where they come from. Are we, there's a
type of barbecue.
But if we're gonna go, if we're just gonna call it cut and dry, your straight up buffalo traditional Franks and butter hot sauce versus barbecue your average pizza joint's barbecue wings. Hot wings.
Yeah, I'm gonna agree.
But I did have some wonderful barbecue wings recently, so.
Oh yeah. Not gonna kick barbecue wings out of bed for eating crackers.
No.
Bills Super Bowl or Sabres Stanley Cup?
See, we got there. Yeah. Honest,
I'm gonna say Bills Super Bowl.
Really?
Because Bills Super Bowl is us declaring to the country, shut up.
Yeah, no, I feel that. I absolutely feel that. And I was thinking, a
Stanley Cup would kind of be like us walking into the cool kids party with, what it'd be? It'd be that scene from Teen Wolf where Styles comes in with a keg and he thinks he's the savior of the party. And the guy's just like, yeah, put it in the back with all the rest.
Oh, what a good pull. What a great pull. Oh, that's fantastic. Well done. Well done.
We would feel a Stanley Cup like nothing. The city would burn down and we would roll in the ashes like gleeful children. But the rest of the country wouldn't care. With a Super Bowl, the city's still going to burn down. We're still going to roll in the ashes like gleeful children. The rest of the country's going to have to just shut up.
Yes, you are absolutely correct. And that crossed my mind when I was thinking about my answer. But for me personally, give me the cup.
I get that.
I want the cup.
There are also more demons put to rest with the Super Bowl win than with the Stanley Cup.
Again, it's all very true. I would give anything for that cup to be hoisted in Buffalo by a Buffalo team. Because it was hoisted in Buffalo by a Dallas team.
A cheating Dallas team.
That's correct. That is correct.
Yes. TV show or movie?
Oh, see, we've really they both have their pros and cons. It's really uh
In the current world, TV show.
I not the world, even the world aside, just my life and like my preferences right now. I'm gonna say TV show as well.
Yeah, I think we're just in a place right now where television is just better.
You get more time, and you can really invest in character arcs and things like that. And you can really tell a layered story. The best TV shows, can really, really, hook you and build and build and build. And when they pay off, like that catharsis is so much greater than you would get in just a 90-minute, 2-hour movie.
Yeah, I agree. The last one he has here is bottles or cans.
Ooh, not gonna lie. Years ago, I would have told you bottles 100 times out of 100. But in the last 5 years or so, the can revolution has really taken over in craft beer. And honestly, it's totally fine. So I honestly have no preference. But if you were to put a gun to my head, the sentimental side of me just says bottles. But honestly, there's no, I'm 100% fine with cans. But for the romantic factor, let's be, for the sake of the question, bottles.
Yeah, I agree. Bottles. Okay, so now he moves on.
That was fun.
Yeah, we got some more fun. He gave us a lot of good stuff. We have some word association. Drew.
Okay.
So I'm going to go down the list, and as I go down this list, I want you to write down the word.
I got to write it down?
Then we're going to, just write down the word.
Okay.
Because then after we go through you're going to go through and give the words to me.
Okay, hold on. Let me get my notepad up. All right. Oh, okay.
So, word association, first word that comes to your mind, use one word to describe the following. Ready?
Sure.
Carl.
I promise every word I'm trying to come up with right now is good for you, Carl. Just so you know. Generous.
Drew.
Oh. Jesus Christ. God. Broken.
2020.
Devastating.
Comics.
How do I feel about one word? Word association. It's one word, right?
Yes.
Okay. Comics. Magical.
Mandalorian.
Is there a word for pleasant surprise? Is that okay?
Okay. I'll share that one. Okay, so now you're going to go down the list for myself.
Oh, okay. Whew. Oh man, that was stressful. Okay, ready?
So I'm going to try and rapid fire these and give like the first word that comes to mind.
Okay. As long as I have the list correct. Okay. Carl.
Flawed.
Drew.
Brother.
2020.
Listening.
Comics.
Father.
Mandalorian.
Hope.
All right.
Interesting little window into our psyches there.
Little bit.
Yeah. Okay, so lastly, as here is topics
deep
to discuss.
Yeah,
a little deep there.
Okay, it's good.
Yeah, hit us up with more of that, Adam. I trust you. You'll be in charge of going deep into the psyche of the Devils do. Yeah. Okay, so he also gives some topics to discuss. What trends from 2020 do you see carrying over into how we consume media, video games, and board games?
Oh, wow. My snap, I've been thinking about this a lot, and I'm just thinking about, businesses and how they business, right?
Right.
My thought is that movies are, man, they might be done for. You might be looking at the end of movies for a while. Because what's the point if you can't release them and make that bank? Releasing them to streaming directly, I believe Disney has found out that is not the moneymaker that they hoped it would be, in the case of Mulan anyway.
Well, see, that's kind of skewed, though, because they led with, I think, like, not a great choice to lead your first effort in that with.
That's fine, but...
And also, before it dropped for the $30 price tag, they announced that it would be streaming for free starting in December.
That's fair, but that's not the only underperforming kind of thing that has happened. I think the release direct model, like, I just don't see it being the future of the movie business. And if that's not the future of the movie business, then what's the point of the movie business? I think I could see more television shows being put into production, because ultimately they can do more and spend less. And that's not necessarily fair, but given how we consume media these days, they're going to be looking at how long they can keep people engaged and sucked into the service. And they can point to, hey, we can keep people engaged for 9+ hours if we do a TV show versus 2.5 hours if we do a movie at most. And that's just a weird Hollywood mentality thing that I see happening. I don't know that, but it certainly feels that way. We'll see. Video games are omnipresent and will always be omnipresent. I don't know if they've gotten more or less popular during the pandemic. But
I think more popular just because of the nature of what they are.
Sure. I mean, we're home. We're kind of by ourselves. We're going to play video games, So, but at the same time, I would hope that. No, I'm gonna curb that for now. We'll see. Because they still require a lot of manpower to create and unfortunately, manpower gets abused by the companies that create these games. So I would hope that gets better, but I doubt that it will. So again, that's a whole other discussion I don't want to get too deep into. Board games, unfortunately, due to the pandemic, will definitely take a hit, just by nature of social distancing and whatnot. Me, you, and I, and Alan, we haven't gamed together in months, and I hate it. You know, I miss you guys dearly, but you know, it is what it is. You know, and I'm sure we're not the only ones that are affected by that. So, tabletop gaming is in, I don't know if it's in trouble, but it's the boom period surely must be over at this point.
So, going back over the 3 points you had: movies, video games, and board games. Starting with movies, I think movies will come back. It's just going to take time. And when I say take time, I think a reasonable explanation to get back where we were at pre-pandemic is probably 8 to 10 years.
Ooh, wow.
To get us back to that point. I don't see the medium dying out because there's still just too much money to be made there.
Yeah, but well, okay. You're not wrong, but in 8 to 10 years is a generation, and a generation that goes without might not care, you know.
And the industry will adjust, as we've seen it already doing. Like right now at the AMC, for $100, you can rent out a theater and screen a movie for yourself and some friends. I got real excited when I saw that. Then I looked at the list of the available movies. I was like, I was kind of hoping, like, not for nothing, I was kind of hoping Empire Strikes Back would be on there because they re-released that recently. But it unfortunately was not. The only one that really caught my eye that I would want to go see is either Tenet, which would cost more than $100, or possibly Jurassic Park. Video games, I am very interested to see what happens in the first year of sales for the new generation coming out.
Yeah.
Because the market dictates what it wants. And we've been talking for the past 2 generations, who is going to be the first one to go all digital? We know all digital is simply a matter of time. But when and how has been the predominant question. Who has been the predominant question? Sony and Microsoft are being very smart, I feel, with their new generation offerings, because they're going to let the market decide if the time is here and now.
Yeah.
Because you have a digital-only option for both the PS5 and the Xbox Series 1, BQ, T65, whatever. Mm-hmm. So I'm very interested to see where those go. I don't think, as far as consuming video games go, I don't think anything is relatively going to change for that. I think possibly their player base has grown, obviously, through the pandemic. You see things like Nintendo doing the Ring Fit, and how, like, you know, Julie has taken off with that, and she absolutely loves it. And, you know, I was fortunate enough to try to get one of those after the initial rush of when the shutdown first hit. I guess they were almost impossible to find, and now they're coming back onto the market, and I was fortunate enough to be able to get one relatively easily. So I think video games are pretty much going to stay the same, and we'll see where the market is going to dictate systems go from here on out. Are we switching over to completely digital, or are we staying with a primarily physical media-based format? The last one, board games. Drew, would you be surprised to hear that board game sales have actually increased during the pandemic?
That's surprising to me.
It is true.
And a little frightening, to be honest with you.
board game sales have increased during the pandemic. A couple contributing reasons to this. A lot of board games have single-player modes available to them, so there's that. Some areas of the country are not as heavily affected by the pandemic as other areas. Small gatherings are still okay.
Yeah.
And in small gatherings, the board game is a perfectly good solution for that. So I think the board game industry is going to take a hit in that you are not going to see conventions per se for some time, but the core of what makes up the board gaming industry, which is the game night, friends getting together, that I think is still okay. And if it does take a hit, it will not be the catastrophic hit that you would think something like this would cause. Whether you want to think well of that or think ill of that is a completely different question altogether. But I was surprised to learn that board game sales have actually increased during the pandemic. Okay, so next thing Adam has for us is, what things have you learned about yourself during the past 7 months you wouldn't have learned without this experience?
Yeah, I am a pretty good pizza chef.
So I've seen from the Facebook posts.
Yes. That's been my if there's anything that's been developed in this pandemic, it has been my pizza making skills. So hey, I it took that to get me there. So yeah.
So for me, getting back to board games really quickly, having not been able to play board games per se, I've learned about myself that board game organization is like porn to me. Like it's never completely done to a way that I'm satisfied with. Like I'm looking at my shelves right now and I'm just like, that could look better. That could be organized better.
I admire you.
Cards have been sleeved, inserts have been ordered and assembled, and just organizing and getting to an efficient way of enjoying the games has been something that I've learned about myself. And I think it's predominantly just in this area of my life. I do like to be organized in other areas, but not to the extent that I've found with board games. Lastly, Adam says, how can we be more excellent to each other as we look towards 2021?
This is a big can of worms we're opening here, but if I had to distill it down, I would just say be empathetic of other people. Be considerate of other people. In the most simple way I can it's the simplest way I can put it. Just consider other people. Your life experience and its ease or difficulties is not all there is. And consider that things are different for others. And be considerate to them. I beg you to do.
I think mine is a version of that, in that be willing to accept the fact that everything you believe you know may be wrong.
Yes.
Be open to being fallible. Be willing to look deeper, scrutinize more of yourself before scrutinizing others, and accept the fact that you might be wrong. And I say this as first and foremost as a person of faith. I have claimed the Christian faith. I've claimed Jesus Christ as my Lord and Savior. I believe with all my heart, mind, body, and soul that the Bible is true and that God is real and that He loves me and He died for my sins. I also have to accept the fact that there is a possibility that that may not be true. That I may be in completely the wrong boat. Does this affect my faith in any way? Does this lessen my faith in any way? I don't believe it does. But I believe there is a danger in blindly following an idea, a faith, a political party, anything, without being willing to question it and accept the fact that you might be wrong. And be willing to listen to and accept other ideas. Be willing to sit down and have a beer with someone that you disagree with on every possible level. But understand at the end of the day, you're both human beings, you're both people, you're both trying to get by in this life. There's more that unites us than divides us. I want to say that again. There is more that unites us than divides us. And I don't just mean as a country. And by the way, I'm stealing that line from the West Wing. And that's not just as a country, as Americans. That's as a species of human beings. So yeah, I think that's how we can be more excellent to each other.
Well said.
Thank you. Adam closes out. Thank you guys for filling my ear pods with good nerdy banter. Sincerely, Adam. Adam, thank you very much for your emails. So now we get to the main event of our emails. Drew, the mega powers coming together. The match that everyone knew was going to happen as soon as they teamed up. Mr. Alan Waiters and Mr. J. Gelsomino. Starting with Mr. Alan Waiters. Carl and Drew. Drew, I know.
Go on.
I know we talk to Alan almost every day, and we love Alan dearly. And he supports our show greatly. He's pretty much our executive producer because he's constantly giving us material for the show.
That's true. That is true.
You know what? I don't think he actually listens to the show though, because he's asking he's asking me and you to do a top 4 list.
Oh, he knows I can't do that.
He knows you don't do lists.
I can't do a list. I can give you a Mount Rushmore, but I can't give you a ranking list. You
don't do lists. Okay, so here we go. Okay. Name the top 4 movie, TV characters you love to hate. Example, Joffrey from Game of Thrones. You wouldn't get that because you never watched Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
So
sorry.
Top 4 movie, TV characters you love to hate.
Oh, God. I'm off guard. That's a good question. I wish I would have known that in advance. Love to hate. What does that mean? What does that mean?
Think of a really good heel in wrestling.
But I like the heel. Oh man. I mean, does it mean that I literally, if I hate them, it makes me not want to watch the show? You know what I mean?
Right.
But I guess if I love to hate them, that means I like them, and it makes me want to watch the show more. Okay.
So I'll give an example. So I mentioned that I've been watching Seinfeld for the first time.
Yes.
Julie's been rewatching it.
Yeah.
And it's been like, this is the first time she's rewatched it in a long, long time.
Oh, man, I watch it whenever it's on.
Her opinion on George has soured considerably from the first time through.
I love George.
She's literally said to me, I don't remember being this annoyed by him in the past.
I love George. He's terrible. He's a terrible person, and I love him.
He is a horrible human being.
To be fair, everyone on Seinfeld is a horrible human being.
I mean, thanks to George.
They are.
Thanks. The next time I attend a formal meeting at your house, I will be bringing Pepsi and ring dings.
Oh, sorry. I was drinking. Hence my giggle. I understood that reference. Well done.
Just watch out. It's Gore-Tex, Drew.
Yes, it's a new code.
It's a new code.
Oh God! Have you seen the? Have you gotten to the Timberlands episode yet?
No, not yet.
Oh, okay. Never mind. It's great.
So George would probably be on my list. Cersei from Game of Thrones would be on my list. Trying to think of who else. Who else?
That's tough because I you know, if I really love the character, I don't hate them. You know what I mean? Like they can be the villain, but like I could just love the character. I feel like the people I don't know Game of Thrones, but I know that people really really hated that Joffrey character, that Joffrey dude.
Oh, yeah.
Like they hated him.
Yeah.
But so to me, that feels more like a I don't even know what that is.
I kind of feel like I got to put Wilson Fisk on there. He's like he was so great, but he killed Ben.
Yeah. Put him on my list. I put him on my list. That gives me some. That might give me something to go on. I didn't love to hate. No, I can't get there. I can't get there. I don't really have characters like that, to be honest with you.
Okay.
I don't know if they're that.
You know what? Okay, I got one for you. I got an easy one for you. The biker scout that punched the child.
Oh yeah, screw you, bro. Not cool.
Screw you, Jason Sudeikis.
He's on my list. You just made a list.
You made the list.
You just made the list, buddy. Sure. Yeah, I'm sure if I sat here and thought of like every movie ever, I could get there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Okay, here's one. Here's an interesting one for you. Same actor. So I'm gonna go two roles. Same actor. Walter Peck in Ghostbusters.
Oh yeah.
Now here's the thing. Here's the change up. I used to hate him. What a jerk. He wants to get in the way of the good guys, right?
Yep.
As an adult, though, to be fair,
dude was just doing his job.
He had very valid concerns.
Yes, he did.
I mean, perfectly reasonable.
Each one of them is wearing an unlicensed nuclear accelerator on their back.
Yes. So, okay,
I'm not a scientist, but that sounds to me like they're each wearing a nuclear bomb on their back.
Right. Little dangerous. And they're housing who knows what in their basement in the middle of Manhattan. You know, he had valid complaints. So, as a youth, love to hate him. As an adult, maybe not so much. However, Same actor, different role, still hate as an adult. His role in Die Hard as the slime. He played the slimeball reporter.
Yep.
He's still a slimeball. I still hate him as an adult.
Yep. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I say that as someone who was very much pro media, but he crossed the line.
Yeah.
So yeah. I love to hate him. He kind of got typecast, didn't he? He kind of got typecast as like the jerk.
Yeah, he did. He did.
Oh! You know who I hated? You know who?
My mind going down a path because two others.
You know who
sprung?
You know who I hate? We know who I love to hate. Ghostbusters 2. The mayor's assistant guy.
Oh yeah.
Screw him.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yet I love him in Wayne's World. Different character.
Yeah. I love you, man.
I love you too.
So,
it's funny.
I'm gonna throw a couple others in there.
All right.
Brian Dennehy from First Blood.
Oh yeah. Yeah. It's going. Good one.
Dude, Rambo's just making his way through town. You didn't have to be a kid. And then the guy who set Rambo up in First Blood Part 2.
Okay.
Yeah, those guys.
Can I say that I love to hate all of the villains in the Crow movie?
Yeah, that is very fair. That is very fair. There's no sympathy for them.
No, they're terrible. But I love them all. But I hate them all.
Yeah, they're like, if you just met those guys at a bar, you'd probably hang out with them.
Oh, I don't know about that, but
the second you started to get to know them, you'd be like, oh no, yeah, we're not, no. Yeah, those guys. Yeah, screw them.
And yet we love them because they're so over the top and well drawn out. Like, it's wild.
Drew, and this is totally off subject, but I do feel what Bears mentioned. Drew, we live in a world right now where we can go out, we can buy a video game, and we can have Rambo fight the Terminator, RoboCop, a Predator, an Alien. Actually, no, Predator and Alien were the last game. But yeah, we can have like Rambo fight the Terminator and RoboCop, voiced by the actors.
I mean, yeah, but I'm not.
Context. There's still something really cool about that. Like if we told that to like 1989, Carl and Drew.
Yes, but we were children. We didn't quite understand the nuance. You know what I mean? I understand. I know what you're saying. Like, there's that surface level coolness to it, right? But as an adult, knowing the characters like I do, putting them in that kind of setup just feels like wrong. You know?
Sometimes I miss the
innocence of youth.
The yes. Innocence of the taste.
Yeah, no, I understand. I totally understand.
Like, I miss not being able to recognize crap when I saw it.
Yeah, no, Carl, I
just being
totally
able to enjoy everything.
Yes, I feel you entirely. Not for nothing, but
then Batman and Robin came along and just ripped the veil from my face.
You're a man of faith. You'll understand this reference, but I feel like there's a very good reason that the original sin is the sin of knowledge.
Yeah.
Because once you know, it makes things so much harder to just kind of, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. When you don't, as Joey Pants once said, ignorance is bliss.
That he did. That he did. Okay, so moving on to Alan's questions first individually. Carl, what was your favorite Halloween costume? Do you give out full-size candy bars for Halloween? Answering the second question first, Alan, yes, under normal circumstances, we do give out full-size candy bars for Halloween, as it is my favorite holiday, but alas, this year, Halloween is not going to be what we normally enjoy it to be. What was my favorite Halloween costume? It'd probably have to be my old plastic Darth Vader costume, of which my father took me out trick-or-treating in. I wore that, I think, for like 3 years in a row. I can't remember the name of the company. There's a documentary out there about that company and those costumes. You know the ones I'm talking about, right, Drew?
The plastic masks with the plastic smocks?
Yes.
Yeah.
Like jumper.
Yep.
Oh, what was the name of that company?
If you told it to me, I would go, oh, yeah, but sitting here, I don't recall.
See, now it's going to bug me. Now I got to go to the internet.
Yeah.
While I'm doing that, I will read Alan's question to you. Drew, many consider the years of 93 to 2001 the best years in the terms of Japanese role-playing games. Do you agree? At the end of the PlayStation 1 cycle, they had a lot of great games like Final Fantasy, Vagrant Story, Legend of Dragoon. Oh, God, I love Legend of Dragoon. Legend of Mana, and Chrono Cross. Out of the list, what was your favorite, and would you like to see a remake?
I would wholeheartedly agree that is a golden age of Japanese role-playing games. And to be honest, and to be honest and fair, I have not played many since then, so I might be biased when I say that is the golden age. But there was magic in the air, and the legacy of all that stuff looms very large over the video game world. So, my favorite of all of them, I'm a huge, it's no secret, Secret of Mana is near and dear to me. But the Final Fantasy 4 and 6, or 2 and 3 as I knew them here, they are just my absolute favorites, and I love those games to death, and I will play them repeatedly, anytime, and never tire of them. 7 I do like, but I don't love the way popular culture embraced 7, loves it. It's great, don't get me wrong, but I love 6 that much more, for sure. So, gun to my head, Final Fantasy 6 is my favorite. You want to talk about love to hate? I love to hate Kefka. What a tremendous villain Kefka is. Oh, how I hate him. Oh, how I loved him. Oh, how I love him, but I hate him. So, Final Fantasy 6 is my go-to there. But man, Vagrant Story and the Mana series, man, what a glorious time that was.
Ben Cooper. That was the company, Ben Cooper Company.
Okay, yeah, I can picture all of their costumes.
The costumes in a box.
Yeah.
Oh my!
I'm trying to think. Did I have a favorite costume as a kid? Not really. Again, like I always feel like I want to love Halloween more than I do.
So as far as like the RPG question, I'm going to say it was the RPG that Square did right after Final Fantasy VII, and it has a bit of a cult following. There was a game called Xenogears, and it was
just yeah.
Xenogears was absolutely incredible, and just far and away, I thought it was superior to Final Fantasy VII. Oh, so many hours of my life in that game. The final boss fight took 45 minutes. Oh wow! There's some. I found a website that has the 14 weirdest Ben Cooper costumes. And you know what, Drew? I'm just gonna.
The G.I. Joe one was terrible.
Yeah, G.I. Joe one was bad, but all the ones on this list are much worse. So I'm just going to send that link to you and let you prove that while I bring up our final email. Alan, thank you very much. As always, we appreciate you. Our final email coming from Mr. J. Gelsomino. Drew and Carl, DC or Marvel, and why? That should take up at least 20 minutes of the show. You're welcome.
Oh, I don't know about 20 minutes. Me personally, Marvel, and that's just because, to me, the stories are more relevant only because Marvel has always tried to be, as Joe Quesada likes to say, the world outside your window. So they feel, and I'm air quoting, but they feel more real than DC does. They take place in real locations, by and large. Not everywhere, obviously, but New York is New York, even in the Marvel universe. And it always lends it an air of authenticity and truth to it, even as fantastical as it can be. So and not for nothing, but it just. No, that's I guess that's the gist of it. It feels more real. It feels more grounded, even when it's completely insane. And my favorite characters just are Marvel characters overall. Daredevil, the X-Men at their best, the X-Men, Spider-Man, Captain America. They mean more to me than DC does. Not to say that I don't love DC stories as well, because I do. But gun to my head, one or the other. Sophie's choice, Marvel. For that feeling of authenticity. And change and malleability and changeability as a result of being the world outside your window. So
I'm gonna cheap out on this one. I'm just gonna say both. I think
that's fair. That's fair.
Full room for both. I believe both offer something of value, and both offer great things just in different packages. So I've never been one to. There have been different points throughout my life that I've read one more than the other, but there's never been a point where I've totally abandoned one or the other.
That's totally fair. There's definitely things in DC that I admire even and like more than Marvel to some degree. Like for instance, there's nothing in Marvel Comics that has the rich kind of fantasy, fairy tale almost quality that Gotham City has to it. You know what I mean?
Right.
Batman's world is so unique and otherworldly unto itself that it's like a fairy tale almost, and it can't exist in the real world. But it's so well realized in its own way that it transcends like everything. It's just, Batman's world is just so it's just so rich and fantastical. Marvel doesn't have anything like that. But that's not to say that I want Marvel to have something like that. Each works in its own way. But, I do envy that sometimes about DC. DC has that quality with some of their stuff that's just like, transcendent in a way that Marvel locales are not.
DC definitely does self-contained stories better.
Yeah. I wouldn't argue that.
Like, it's like when you think to like if there's like a story that you want to point someone to. It's much easier to do that with DC than there is to do that with Marvel. Like with Marvel, you would point to a run on the book.
Yes.
You'd be like, hey, check out, the Bendis run on Daredevil. Check out, the Brubaker run on Cap.
Yep. Yep.
The McFarlane run on Spider-Man, so on and so forth. With DC, it's like, okay, check out The Dark Knight Returns. Check out, Superman and Man for All Seasons. Check out Green Arrow, The Longbow Hunters. Those self-contained things are much easier and accessible in DC than they are in Marvel.
I would agree.
So he goes on, Drew. Is there anything at this point that can make you watch WWE more than YouTube highlights and hate watch?
I don't even do either of those anymore. No, nothing. I am 1,000% okay never watching WWE again. I hate the company. Vince McMahon is pure evil. And that is not hyperbole. That man is evil. And when he's gone, his son-in-law will take over, and his daughter. And I don't think much highly of either of them either. So no. It would take what would it take to get me to watch it? It would take a complete overhaul of the television presentation. It would take Vince McMahon's death, or complete McMahon family divestment of the company. It would take a lot to get me to watch with interest WWE ever again. I do not partake in it now, and I have never loved wrestling more than when I really stopped caring about WWE.
So now, folks, just to give you an example, like you're hearing Drew say these things, and you're probably going, wow, that sounds a bit harsh. Well, A, it's true, and B, Drew, what's the WWE been doing lately with its employees' extra social media affairs?
Oh, yeah. Bear in mind, they're not employees, Carl. They're independent contractors, as WWE will tell you over and over again. They're independent contractors, except they're not independent because WWE tells them when they can work, where they can work, how they can work. They are employees in all but name. Okay, so WWE talent has been forced by WWE to turn over their social media accounts to WWE and to make all of their Twitch, all their streaming channels, Twitch, YouTube, whatever they use, they have to basically make those WWE property. And if they're going to stream, they have to do so under the WWE umbrella, and WWE gets their money for those streams.
Now, Drew, surely these streams that you're talking about are the WWE performers operating these streams under their ring names and ring personas, right? That's the only way that WWE would be able to do such a thing.
Incorrect. No.
Ooh.
Regardless, you work for WWE and you have a stream. No, you don't. WWE will now own that stream and control your income on that stream.
So WWE is saying essentially that they own these people's real life identities.
That's pretty much it, yeah. Or at the very least, they would argue that they have given these people a platform to become, air quotes, famous. Therefore, them using that fame to get money outside of WWE, WWE should also have a hand in that money. Now, I'm trying to think of an accurate comparison, and there really isn't one. But I'm trying to think of a way to make just to show you how absurd that is. That's like, it's like Marvel trying to claim all of Chris Evans' outside Marvel earnings as theirs because they made him famous, air quotes, as Captain America.
Right.
That's what it is, more or less. Oh, Chris Evans is we made Chris Evans famous as Captain America, so when he goes and does another movie elsewhere, we get that money and he can get a cut of it. That's kind of what this is. Do you hear how insane that is? Do you hear how asinine that is?
So, Drew, certainly I'm sure that these people with the Twitch channels and whatnot, these are probably just like third, fourth tier performers. These aren't like top stars or anything, right?
Do you know what Up, Up, Down, Down does? Like, Xavier Woods has been doing this a long time. That dude does numbers. Like, these
No, I'm talking about the people who are running the channels.
Yeah.
They're like, they're not mid-carders or developmental talent. These are top tier.
Yeah. Oh, dude, AJ Styles has a channel. Like, these are, names in the company that do this. And now they can't. They have to turn it over. On top of the mid-carders, who, quite frankly, this is they're not getting noticed on WWE TV, but if they can go get a Twitch stream going and get some more action for themselves, more power to them.
So, folks,
it's insane. It's madness. It's complete insanity. It's complete insanity.
Folks, as I've discovered over the past year or so, when you accept it for what it is, wrestling can be a lot of fun. And just watch AEW, folks. It's so much fun.
NewJapanWorld.com, NJPWWorld.com. Watch AEW on Wednesday nights. And just, man, don't make a wrestling company. God, this could go for so. Politics, sports teams. Don't get so entrenched in a brand that you can't appreciate a world outside of that brand. Okay, WWE fans, and I'm generalizing, but man, WWE fans hate WWE as well, and have for years, and yet they watch every week in hope. It's Stockholm Syndrome. They hate it. All they do is pine for the days when it was good, but they still watch it every week in hopes that it's going to get better, and it never does, and it hasn't for 20 years. Yet, they never want to acknowledge anything outside of WWE. If it's outside of WWE, it's not real. It's not legit. It's not the same. It's not as good. It cannot possibly be as good. Folks, get out of the bubble, okay? Once you look outside and realize, oh my God, there's this whole other world out there, and it's great. It's awesome, and it gives me all the feeling I want for this thing to give me. Your life, food tastes better. You know what I mean? The air is sweeter. It changes your whole perception of the thing, and then eventually you just stop caring. Let Vince do what he's gonna do. Let WWE do what they're. I don't care. I just don't care. I hate when they raid talent, and I hate when guys I love sign there. I'll sympathize with them. They're going to get paid. They're going to probably, make the most money that they've ever made. Good for them. Hey, well done, pal. But you know what? You're dead to me. I'm sorry. As a fan, I'm sorry, but I know that everything I love about you is going to be taken away from you, and you're going to be a shell of what I care about. You're going to be put on you're going to be put on television and made to look ridiculous. You're going to be made to look like a geek. You're not going to be the same performer that I fell in love with. So hey, get that money. Hope your life is going great, but my entertainment value in you is gone. Sorry. I'm happy for you on the financial sense, but you know what? You're gone. You're dead to me. Sorry.
See Shinsuke Nakamura.
My favorite wrestler ever, Shinsuke Nakamura, went to WWE, and he's dude. He might as well be dead. I'm sorry. He's a shell of himself. And to be fair to that man, he worked in New Japan for a long time. And he worked there when they were working a style that was very physically hard. And you know, look, it's no cakewalk over there as it is. But back in the day, he ground his body to a pulp. Okay, so if he's on the retirement tour, getting paid big money to be a shell of himself on WWE, good for him. But I miss the King of Strong style. Okay. That guy, that singular guy, the moment I saw that guy, as a complete newcomer to New Japan, I said, that guy rules. That dude was my gateway into caring about NJPW. And I'll always be grateful for that, believe me. But, like, he's gone. Like, that dude doesn't exist anymore. And that breaks my heart. But, hey, that's what happens when you go there. That's what happens when you sign to WWE. They make you into nothing.
Yeah. Folks, just look up Lucha Bros. Look up Lucha Brothers.
Pentagon Jr., baby.
Pentagon and Phoenix.
Not for nothing. And well, you know, we're in this whole wrestling bubble right now. Folks, I implore you. I beg you. It's over now, but it's available for free, I think, on the internet. You can stream it for free. Go out of your way and stream Lucha Underground from start to finish. It is it's like my favorite thing in wrestling in years. When it was so cool. It was the coolest thing ever when it happened. It was wrestling. It was Mortal Kombat. It was a soap opera. It was Grindhouse. It was so cool.
It was really smart.
Yeah, like they didn't insult your intelligence. They made everyone on the show, even the jobbers, feel cool and like a big deal. Honestly, they used everyone to a great effect. Everybody got over on that show. What a man, Lucha Underground, and it ruled. It ruled straight up. Lucha Underground ruled, and everybody, by and large, from Lucha Underground, has gone on to work at the highest levels of the business right now. Pentagon Jr., Phoenix, AEW, they're killing it. Now I want them to get back up. Brian Cage, hell yeah. Prince Puma, may he rest in peace, is now getting paid in WWE. They completely ruined him, but hey, he's there. He's working. He's there. Pentagon at Phoenix though.
The hybrid too.
Yeah. Jack Evans. John Morrison, may he again. Johnny Mundo, may he rest in peace. He's back in WWE. Now, to be fair, that's where he came from. But the most I've ever cared about him was when he was Johnny Mundo in Lucha Underground because he was amazing there. The Snake Tribe, Vibora and the Snake Tribe, he's Luchasaurus. He's great. I love him. Lucha Underground was just such a magical thing.
Yeah. Well, we have AEW now.
We do. We certainly do. And New Japan. And folks, if you like wrestling.
AEW is better than you, WWE, and you know it.
Oh, I see what you did there.
All right, so moving on to Jay's question for me.
Wrestling. I love it. God, I love wrestling.
Carl, are there any comic stories you've always meant to read but just haven't? Probably the I literally just mentioned this run not 2 questions ago. It's not Bendis. I kept wanting to say Brubaker. The Bendis Daredevil.
Oh, you should.
I know I should.
That's why I love Daredevil.
Yeah. So yeah, that's that's it. So that's gonna do it for the questions, Drew.
Oh man.
Folks, we can't thank you enough. This was great.
You gave us a great show, which hopefully we are giving back to you.
Yeah, this was a lot of fun. We really appreciate it. If you want to continue the greatness and send us questions or contact us, reach us out into the future, you can do so at the following social media locations. You can follow us on Twitter at Devils Do Pod. You can like our Facebook page at facebook.com/DevilsDoPod. You can email us at thedevilsdopod@gmail.com, or you can find all these resources available to you on our website, thedevilsdopodcast.com. Drew, any last thoughts?
Oh, happy Halloween, Carl.
Yes, indeed. Happy Halloween. Definitely go out and vote.
Yeah.
Actually, by the time they hear this, the election will have already happened.
Oh.
So we hope you voted. I voted. Mail-in ballot.
Same.
Yep. So taken care of. Voted for Joe Biden. I'll shame you a minute because, to quote Captain America, I don't like bullies.
That's a succinct way to put it.
Yep. So, all right, folks, thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate it. We welcome you back here next time. Until then, we hope you're all happy and healthy. Take care of each other, and please be excellent to each other.
Party on, dudes.
Party on.